Hello, everyone. My name is Rochelle Innocent, and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Purpose. Welcome to our channel. Our community is focused on fostering the intellectual and character development in children. We do this through our parent-child workshops that are focused on 4 themes: autonomy, self-efficacy, compassion, and self-concept, in order to cultivate grit, perseverance, and resilience in each child. And we are so thrilled to be offering one of the first of its kind digital, virtual, and continuous learning environments, enabling parents and children to connect from all around the world. At Project Purpose, our overarching mandate is to renew and rebuild family, community, and relationships. Our different social media platforms provide us with an opportunity to have discussions and to create space for all topics that relate to family, community, and relationships with ourselves as well as with others, with a primary focus on mental health and education. More precisely, the ways that the institutions of mental health and education have played a role and play a role in our societies at large. These discussions and debates provide us with an opportunity to think critically about what needs to change within these structures for us to live up to our bold slogan: support, protect, and empower each child through youth-focused development, better known as leadership in juvenescence. We recognize that in valuing our children's leadership potential, that this also translates as recreating and co-creating environments, both socially and politically, that will enable our children to thrive. For those of you who are particularly keen on the topic, we also write thought pieces every other Sunday. We're actually dropping a thought piece this upcoming Sunday, so be sure to meander over to the website and check out our online content. Now, if it is the case that you are looking for a listening alternative, well, we are available wherever podcasts are playing, and we've provided you with access to a few links down below. Now, as is the convention, be sure to subscribe, hit that post notification bell so that you are aware of every time we post. And of course, if you like these conversations and you want to keep them going, like, comment, and share this segment. Let's get into it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another segment here on Project Purpose. For those of you who are new, we cover topics that relate to mental health, mental wellness, and education on a week-by-week basis. And today's topic of discussion is mental wellness. And on the topic of mental wellness, I want to talk about patience. I want to talk about my relationship with patience and how developing patience has really helped ensure a high level of mental wellness in those periods of waiting, those periods of transition. And since I have experienced lots of those transitions, my career in and of itself is a series of transitions. I've probably explored at least 3 significant career transitions, and that's outside of starting Project Purpose. But even in dealing with just life and having really serious life situations take place, a lot of factors are just beyond our realm of control. And I think that there's such a gift in being provided with a reality, no matter how harsh and stark that reality comes packaged in, when recognizing that we are not in control. And what I love about patience and about being required to be patient is that it is a reminder of that, of the fact that I am not in control. And it's an important reminder because I find that when I don't need to exercise patience, I immediately become a little bit more controlling about my time, about my schedule, and about things that I want to do, and the timing around how I want it to get done. And so I think that this is a really important conversation because I have grown so much strength, so much resilience in being patient, in watching and waiting, and not allowing my timeline to get in the way of the divine timing that is my life. And I trust in that because I went through a period where I was really dealing with very extreme situations. And if I thought that I was going to get out of that situation on my own timeline, I would have burned out way sooner to get through that actual period. So that period was way longer than what I would have intended. But because of that, I developed thick skin and I developed patience and I developed this understanding and this awareness that as long as I keep moving, that I keep pushing towards the things that count for me, but also allow that time to inform, well, what should I be doing? A lot of the times our timelines are based on what we want and about the gratification factor. But I find that when it is the case that I'm expected to wait and that I'm being made to wait, I think to myself, well, what do I need? Obviously, it's not happening right now. I can assume that I can be more prepared. I might feel prepared, but how can I be more prepared? Or what is it that might not be on my radar that should be, that I can now prepare for so that I'm better able to transition into this next phase of my life that I'm looking forward to to with more ease. I can transition more seamlessly. And so that's what patience has taught me to be more reflective, more aware of what it is that I'm missing in the now, in the present, what it is that I'm maybe neglecting in the present by wanting to propel myself in the future, and then giving myself space for that. And a lot of the times, for those of us who are impatient, there's a lot that we're dealing with in the present that we would prefer to ignore by focusing on the future. And a lot of that for me are my emotions, my big emotions. And so the last few years have really forced me to address the gaps that are in my emotional development. I think that I've experienced my emotions a lot more, and because I have the time and space to experience them, there's just no reason for me to avoid them. So I've had to sit in my emotions quite a lot. It is a very profound experience for me to sit in my emotions and to give myself an opportunity to name those emotions. And sometimes there is no name. It just feels like a lot going on. Having the ability to sit in my emotions and be patient with myself, even in that period where I'm uncomfortable and I feel unsettled and I feel just unsure and uncertain, because it's a very disorienting experience to just be deeply emotional when I'm typically used to like intellectualizing and navigating away from my emotions. So I think that having these periods of waiting, they give me an opportunity to experience and really sit in emotional release that I think is necessary. It's an emotional release that I think is going to allow me to step into the next phase of my life lighter, more ready, more prepared, more grounded, and have that added stability without needing to carry baggage, unnecessary emotional baggage into this next stage. And so the one thing that I've been very mindful of is when my body starts to cue me that it needs an emotional release. And I think that I would have ignored those cues. Like if I was running on my own timeline, I would have kept pushing aside the need to have an emotional release, as they take time, right? And I find that like, especially when I'm doing yoga, the yin yoga that I do gives me a fairly consistent emotional release, but sometimes I trigger a really deep emotional release, and that could be a few hours written off, just sitting in my emotions, just feeling emotional. And even in that period of time, like not necessarily having a name for the emotion, just really navigating the intensity of those emotions and just being with myself there. So I've developed patience even in the way that I support myself. I've developed the ability to support myself while waiting for things to take place in my life, while waiting on the things that are beyond my realm of control to kind of manifest. And I think that that has been such a great gift. And now another gift that I've received by being patient is being patient allows you to be a lot more aware. If you allow yourself to be resigned with the fact that things are not going to happen on your timeline, then you become aware of what's happening right now. Like what's happening right now that needs my attention, whether that's within me, whether that's around me, whether that's something that needs me to kind of propel that into the future. And a lot of my personal plans start to get activated when I'm waiting on, professional plans. So I have a bit of a juggling match between all three. And so personally, I've become really invested in becoming consumption conscious. And I've had the opportunity to experience a lot of like off the grid lifestyles, and really now starting to build my own mental model of what I'd like my own off the grid lifestyle to look like, because I do believe that that's what I want in the future. I want a lifestyle that allows me to enjoy like the perks and benefits of the city, but I do believe that I want to live more so off grid, but that is its own learning curve, right? And being patient and having to wait and not necessarily knowing what the next steps are in other facets of my life allows me to really delve into this learning curve and delve into like how realistic is it? What are the timelines required? What do I need to get myself started? Like what country do I even want to get started in? What country has the resources? And it's so interesting because when you think about energy, when you think about all of the ways that you can gain energy off grid, you start to really recognize how much freedom that you can possess by just focalizing on the tactical aspects of that transition. So that's what I've been doing as I've exercised patience and also allowing my attention to pivot elsewhere. And I find that a lot of us, we're so focused on career that oftentimes relationships and our social lives and our personal hobbies get put on the back burner. But I've realized that like I have this massive life with all of these interests and all of these passions, all of these areas where I'd like to satisfy my curiosity. And I also have my career that's also very much a big part of my identity, but it isn't the locus. And it used to be. My career was my most important relationship for the longest time. If the last few years haven't taught me anything, is that while career is important, it shouldn't be what your entire life revolves around. In fact, I think it's really, really important to position yourself bit by bit in a way where the locus of your life is really in alignment with what you prioritize as the top priority in your life. And then everything else revolves around that and building a lifestyle around that. And I did a few life workshops that really helped me think about, well, what are those core factors and how would I want to manage my time to get there? And what are some of the transitional steps by way of sacrifices in time that I need to take in order to get there as well? So doing that thinking, and I am someone who thinks things through very deeply before I start penning it to paper. So sometimes people are like, well, you know, like, is Rochelle like getting that deliverable done? Like, I don't really see anything started. It's because I think a lot before I'm writing things out and constructing something. Like, the vision has already been solidified in my brain. Like, I spend a lot of time ideating and just revolving the idea and the vision in my head before it actually comes out as output. So stillness is not laziness. It's not doing nothing. Like, I never have nothing happening between these ears. Like, there's always something going on. But I like to really have a full plan in place and then concretize that plan in front of me and then finesse it. I don't concretize an unfinished sketch and then finesse it. Well, it's like, it has to be a mental model first, and the mental model has to be something that I'm pretty much satisfied with before I put it out in the ether and then refine it from there. And so patience has given me the ability to do that as well. And I think another thing that patience gives me is an opportunity to just reflect on my own humanity, on my own limits, right? And I think that sometimes we think that we're superheroes, and I have been a victim of the superhero complex because I have been able to push through barriers, push through red tape, like push through things in a timeline that was more so aligned with my own, up until I've reached like this plateau where like now life is just like not allowing me to do that, and I've had to just come to face with my own limitations. And I think that that's such a great gift because it allows me the permission to seek support. And before, like, I was not the person who would ever seek outside support, to ever allow myself to be so vulnerable to need help. But being patient, recognizing that there are certain things that, you know, you need to just kind of think them through. And then as I think them through, or as thinking them through, I see that I have support. Like, this isn't a journey that I'm on alone. And so those are some of the things that patience have taught me, are still teaching me, and are showing me about life. They're showing me the need to be still, the need to be present, the need to process my emotions now and not allow emotional baggage into the next phase and stage of my life. And also the need to recognize that, like, my life doesn't revolve around this one big thing, right? My life is comprised of a lot of different things that capture my attention, that oftentimes lose focus and lose the time that they need to come into existence and to come into reality. And also patience has taught me that I'm not alone in any of the things that I'm doing. I always have support. I always have help. There's always guidance available. And it's in the stillness that you recognize like just how many people are in your corner, even if they're not in plain sight. And so being patient has given me that awareness, it's given me that understanding, and it's given me that acceptance. The acceptance that not everything is going to work on my timeline, and that's okay. It doesn't mean I need to be upset. It doesn't mean I need to be punitive. It doesn't mean that, you know, the world is ending. It just means that I need to adapt. I need to adapt. I need to be still, and I need to recognize what it is that I'm neglecting, what it is that I'm ignoring, focalizing on that one big thing. So that has been really helpful for me. It has enabled me to really find peace, find joy, find center in those areas of waiting where typically I would be anxious and just completely overwhelmed and just so caught up in the next step that I couldn't enjoy the now. But I think when you're waiting for the next step long enough and you recognize that you're waiting in a way that's unhealthy, you want to be adaptive. You want to wait in a way that serves you best. And it's like, okay, well, what am I ignoring? What am I not paying attention to, focusing on this future thing that's just not ready for me yet? So I wanted to come online and share that with you. I hope that that tidbit of wisdom is helpful to you as it's been to me. It's still a work in progress. I am not someone who is born patient. Life has forced patience on me. And while it is a gift, I recognize it as such. It is sometimes a bitter pill to swallow, but swallow it because it's chicken noodle soup for the soul. In any case, that's it, but definitely not all. Now, before letting you go, I would be remiss if I didn't let you know that we will be going live at least twice a month, every month for the foreseeable future on our Facebook page. So definitely be sure to tune in. Now, these events are paid events. So if you do see yourself participating in our community on an ongoing basis, then I do suggest that you take a look at one of our package plans. Yes, so we do offer package plans over and above our live events, as well as access to webinars and workshops, largely focused on self-mastery over and above those events. So check it out. Be part of our game changer community, being part of the change that you want to see, allowing us a small role to play in your journey. We are on the road to 1K, so we do invite you to follow us across all of our social media platforms, and we look forward to chatting with all of you very soon. We'll talk to you later.